So we'll begin today's session. Keep your back and neck straight, sit comfortably, and when you feel ready, very gently close your eyes. Let's start observing our breath. Watch the natural flow of your breathing as you inhale and as you exhale. Now slowly shift your attention to your body. Become aware of your posture and see if you need to make any changes in your posture. Adjust your body so that you are more relaxed. Your spine should be straight. Face, neck and shoulders should be relaxed. Now very gently come back to your breathing and begin to deepen the breath, going for slow, long and deep inhalations, slow, long and deep exhalations. Allow your breath to deepen. Relax the mind and prepare yourself for chanting Om 3 times, followed by the Guru mantra. So if you know the mantra, you can chant along with me. Take a deep inhalation for Om. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Inhale deeply for Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Feel the vibrations. Now join your palms together and begin to rub your palms together. Place your palms on your eyes. Very slowly, while blinking and looking at your palms, begin to open up your eyes, coming back with a big smile on your face. Om Shanti. Namaste to everyone. Let us begin our session for today. So, in last class we had covered certain general notes, and then we had practiced thoracic breathing, right, or the chest breathing. And today we are going to cover the remaining of the general notes, and we are also going to get introduced to a new practice today. So, general notes are nothing but things you have to take care of before you begin your pranayama practice, and these will greatly vary the way in which you practice. Okay. So, last time we had covered a lot of points varying from the place of practice to the time of practice, and when we can eat the food, when we can bathe, right. So, today, continuing with that only, next topic of discussion that is very important for us is the diet. Okay. So, whenever you are practicing pranayama, there is a shift that you have to make in your diet, and we are going to talk a little bit about that. So, ideally when you start with yogic practices, you should always try to, in general life also, but especially when you are doing yogic practices, you should try to switch as much as is possible to a balanced diet. Okay. In modern terms, you can understand the change of diet as just coming more in alignment with a balanced diet where all the needs of your body are fulfilled. So, from carbohydrates to proteins to various vitamins and minerals, fats, everything should be a part of your diet, and you should not miss out on any of the minerals, right. So, you have to make sure that you take sunlight also every day, right. So, vitamin D is so important. So, like this you have to just make sure that overall your body is getting the right amount of all the necessary things that it requires, right. Now, coming to yogic terms, if we talk in yogic terms, you have to switch the diet to something called a sattvic diet. SATTVIC, sattvic. Okay. Okay. What?
Recording in progress.
Really sorry, I don't know how that ended. Really sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, so we were talking about the diet. So, I was telling you in yogic terms what kind of diet shift you make. So, now I am addressing the quality of the diet. Okay, so in philosophy I will cover this more deeply, but general idea is a diet which is easy to digest, which gives you energy, right. I told you in the beginning of the class also, everything has some form of pranic energy, right. So, sattvic food has very high pranic energy, right. So, when you consume that food, the digestion, the energy that it takes to digest that food, it is very little, and the energy that you gain out of that food is very high. Okay. So, the energy that is set off in digestion, it is very low. So, overall your body gains energy, right. So, that is the purpose of food also. When we eat food, we want to gain energy, right. So, switching to that kind of diet which is easy to digest, which is light in nature, right, and this kind of diet generally includes things like fruits, your vegetables, right, boiled vegetables, right, or very lightly cooked, right, not too many spices, just with the apt amount of things that you require to add in those vegetables. Vegetarian food overall is considered to be sattvic in nature, right? Unless and until you know, just mix a lot of spices in that also and change the quality. Generally, vegetarian food comes under the category of sattvic food. So again, I'm not asking you to change your diet. Whatever is feasible for you, you guys can do that so that you gain the maximum out of your classes, okay? So next very important point of discussion when we talk of pranayama is the breathing, okay? The breathing, most people when they will sit in your class, they might have their mouth open, okay? Because you also see, like in asana, when you inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, your body gets relaxed very easily, right? Quicker than just breathing through the nose, right? So a lot of people, when you start to introduce pranayama practices to them, they might have their mouth still open, right? So you have to tell this in the beginning of your classes only. All the breathing has to be done through the nose, unless and otherwise you instruct them to breathe through the mouth, okay? So it is a by default assumption of pranayama that the breathing is going on through the nose only, right? Only in a few practices we take the help of the mouth to breathe, and in those practices even I will tell you that you have to breathe through the mouth. Otherwise, the basic assumption will always remain that you are breathing through the nose at all times, okay? So every time you will not add this instruction that breathe through the nose. It has to be clarified in the beginning only that breathing is going to go on in a certain way, right? Next very important point of discussion is the sequence, okay? So a lot of people make a mistake in the sequence also. So these practices that we are currently doing, these are, you know, pre-practices, all right? We are preparing for pranayama. So these can be introduced in the beginning of the classes, but pranayama itself is not done before asana practice, all right? So means that when you start your class, maybe you can ask your students to take a few deep breaths, maybe you can ask your students to do some abdominal breathing, some chest breathing, but you cannot ask them to practice a particular pranayama in the opening of the session. You will give them a class where asana practice is there, or if you have more time, you can direct them towards the cleansing practices, षट्कर्म, right? Then you take them towards the asana practice, and after the practice of asana, you make them practice pranayama at the end of your session, all right? Don't make them practice pranayama in the beginning, right? Pranayama requires some level of preparation beforehand, right? And that will come in the form of cleansing or posture practice, okay? So this sequence you should ideally follow when you are taking a class, right? Next point, which is again very important, is the sitting position, okay? So I will demonstrate a few positions in which you can sit while you are doing pranayama, right? And these are mostly meditative postures only. So in your meditation class also you can use these postures to sit and practice, and these are considered to be one of the most ideal positions to practice pranayama, right? So let's begin. If you are unable to grasp something or you want me to check your position, you can turn on your camera, so feel free to do that, right? So first asana for us, which is very, very important, it is Sukhasana, or the way in which I am currently sitting already, right? So this, the cross-legged position where both of my feet are under my thighs, right? So cross-legged position, I am currently sitting in a cross-legged position like this. My legs are going like this, however you are able to understand. This is the easiest posture. One who is unable to sit in any advanced posture because of some kind of knee pain or any other issue, for them this becomes a very important practice. This is the best way to practice pranayama, right? So cross-legged position, okay? This is your first position. Again, you only have to choose one. You don't have to do 10. You shouldn't, like, it's okay if you are not able to do all of them, right? You just have to choose one and sit in that for a long period of time, Okay. Second one, which is very easy to do, is called Swastikasan. Don't go too much into the names, just understand the posture. Okay. So in this posture, your target is to keep both your feet between your calf muscle and your thigh. Okay. Both the feet should be placed between the calf muscle and the thigh. Okay. So first is very easy to do. Suppose my first foot I will be easily able to place right between my thigh and my calf muscle. Now I will fold this, alright. Now when I fold this, I have to take the other foot from below, right, and take it out from here. From below only I take out this foot, and once I take out this foot from below, that becomes Swastikasan. Okay. So I will show you one more time. Okay. What you have to do is essentially you have to grab the first leg. It could be any one, right or left, whichever one you prefer. Place it in between your thigh and calf muscle, right. So now when you begin to close the leg, right, so that the first foot is placed between the calf muscle and the thigh, you have to bring the second foot from down. So lift your knee up slightly, bring the foot from down, okay, like this your hand will go, and then you can pull this out, right, not exactly out, it should be placed between the thigh and the calf muscle, right, like the first foot is. Okay. So this forms your second posture for sitting, which is Swastikasan, right. So if you like this, if you are able to do this one, it's okay. If you have tight thigh muscles, right, probably you won't be able to perform this, and that is also completely fine. We have too many options in store for us. Okay. This is your second position, right. If you feel the need, you can unmute yourself, let me know where you want me to repeat, okay, or if you have missed out on anything. I know with postures I am going little bit fast, right, but you need to know these are the basics, these are the essentials for pranayama, even for your meditation, right. Next one, which is very famous, is the half lotus pose. In half lotus, what you do, you basically have to place one foot on the root of the other thigh. Root meaning the junction point. So where my thigh here, over here, this is the junction point, right. So I place one foot over here, and the second one I place it below my knee. So you see, when people do lotus pose, this portion of the body, it remains lifted up, right. So this needs some support. So what you do, the other foot you place it below the knee, so that your knee has good amount of support and you can sit for a longer period of time. So this is your third pose. This is very good for people who cannot do full lotus, and this is actually one of the very close to one of the ideal positions for pranayama practice, which is full lotus pose. Okay. So like this you can sit, you can place your hands however you like, you can place them palms facing upwards, that is totally up to you. Okay. This is our third posture. So if you are able to do this, you feel you are able to sit comfortably in this, this is the posture for you. Okay. If you have been practicing for a while, you are an advanced practitioner already, you can go for the full lotus pose, which is the ideal posture for pranayama practices, right. So now what do? You, like the first foot, you have placed it on the root of the other thigh, the other leg you will cross it and you will get this up and above, right. So now both of my feet, they are placed on the root of the opposite thigh. This is your lotus pose. Okay. So this becomes your lotus pose. Again you can place your hands, palms facing upwards on the knees. You can gently close your eyes. In this posture your body gets locked. It is very difficult to sit with a hunched back in this posture. Your back generally remains straight only. So this is a very good posture if you are able to do this, right. Just coming to one last posture that you can do pranayama in. You can go for Vajrasana, right. This is a very famous pose. A lot of people sit in it after eating their food, right? So all you have to do is you have to sit between your heels. Okay, so your knees are together from front. In this position, your palms are generally facing downwards. They are placed on the thighs, right? You roll your shoulders back. Okay, your neck remains straight and you can gently close your eyes. Now you have to observe this thing, that I am not sitting on my heels, I have opened up my heels and I have made space so that my buttocks can fit in between my ankles, right? So ankle flexibility is a very important key here. I will just turn around and show you this posture from behind also, so that you are not confused what I am talking about. I could have gone for this. This is not correct. This is correct. Okay, where I am sitting in between my heels, right? So ankle flexibility plays a major role in this. So if you feel you have any kind of ankle injury, you have knee related issues, then don't go for this posture. Okay, even lotus posture, it will have good amount of pressure, it will give good amount of pressure on your knees. So in that case, you can just simply sit in cross-legged position. Now what about people who cannot sit on the ground, who cannot sit in a cross-legged position? For them, first thing you can do is give them cushions. You can shift their mat so that they can sit against the wall, right? Initially even that helps, to sit against the wall to keep a check on that the spine is straight. For someone who is absolutely unable to sit on the floor, you can make them sit on a chair as well. Okay, so that becomes more comfortable for certain people and certain age groups, right? But the best position again for you is sitting on the ground, either cross-legged or in lotus pose. These are very, very good positions, and if you are planning to pursue yoga, if you are not doing it for any health related issues or anything like that, just to become a teacher, it will be better for you to start your practice of sitting on the ground, right? Because eventually you will have to get used to it, right, when you take your sessions ahead. So this can become your beginning point for sitting practices. So this is how, these are the various sitting postures. The quality of the posture should be comfortable and stable. These are two important qualities. As long as you are able to sit comfortably and stably in either one of them, that can become your pose. All right. If there are any doubts, again let me know, right? So I think I'll cover the remaining of the points, right? Yeah. So next point of discussion, which is again very important and most people miss out on this, is avoid strain. Okay. So a lot of people, what they do is they do pranayama, and because pranayama is more, I would say it requires more level of attention to see where you have gone wrong, most people are just practicing pranayama like that, right? And like asana, if I stretch myself too much, I will immediately get to know, I will immediately get the pain, right? But with pranayama, what is happening, if suppose I count for you guys, right? So you end up holding the breath somewhere more, or it's not your capacity, you cannot inhale for that amount of time, right? So you end up straining your system, you end up straining your lungs. Now lungs are very sensitive, right? So pranayama should always be done at the person's pace. Okay, so that is why you should avoid counting when you are giving your classes. Okay, because some students will have some level, some students will have another level, right? So everybody has a different breathing pattern, and we are also currently correcting our breathing pattern only, right, with these pre-practices. So like that you might end up pushing someone too much, right, beyond their limit, which will harm their body, right? So just take care whenever you are introducing pranayama practices, it is a part of your instruction that there should be no strain, right? So you can brief them about this in the beginning only, so that you don't have to repeat this again and again in every class. But avoiding strain is a very big part of pranayama. Sometimes our own ego kicks in. We want to hold the breath for a longer period of time, you know. We want to reach 10 seconds of retention, 20 seconds of retention, 1 minute of retention. So what we do, we harm our system and we push ourselves to hold the breath. And pranayama is not asking you to harm yourself or to push yourself. Pranayama is saying that practice so much that it becomes normal for you, right? 30 seconds retention, it will become normal for you, right? But slowly and gradually practice. It doesn't say that on first day you have to be able to hold your breath for 20 seconds, right? No. Slow, gradual movement, keeping your body and your breath and your capability in mind is the key to mastering any pranayama practice, right? So just keep this in check, because people are practicing pranayama like anything, but they are also harming themselves like anything because of the lack of this awareness, right? Last point of discussion for us is the side effects, okay? So suppose you are in hot temperature right now and suddenly you step out and it is cold, right? I have already talked of temperature. So when you do this thing, what happens? Your body gets a shock, no? That from too cold, too warm, you are going into too cold, right? So in that same way, when you start doing pranayama, your body, because it is not used to a way of breathing currently, because the practices have such a cleansing impact already, right? It is their nature to cleanse, right? So the body can go ahead and show some symptoms to you, right? Like you might experience some change in temperatures in the body, very sudden change in temperatures, or you might feel some itching, you might feel some sweating, right? I'm just naming a few of the symptoms that the body shows. And it is only showing these symptoms because till now you were breathing in a certain way, till now you were living your life in a certain way, and suddenly you started the pranayama practice, and with the change in breathing, the body also somewhere, not in too extreme a shock, but body is also slowly going to adjust to the practices. So initially it is very common if any of your students or even you show any symptoms in the body in the form of sweating, itching, sudden change in temperature, it is absolutely all right. As soon as the body starts getting used to the practices of pranayama, all of these symptoms will eventually subside, right? So if currently you face any symptoms, you can definitely consult me, but my suggestion will remain the same. These symptoms will go away as you deepen your practices. If they don't go away, that is when you, for now, because I am teaching you pranayama, you consult me, right? And when your students will come in, they will consult you, okay? So if they remain for a prolonged period of time, then it becomes a matter of concern. Otherwise, these symptoms will show up for most of the people you will teach, and that is absolutely normal, all right? So if there are any questions related to any of the things we have discussed, please feel free to write them down. Yeah, I will begin with today's concept because we are already running short on time and we have to practice also, right? So today we are learning a new breathing technique, and it is called clavicular breathing. Okay, clavicular. So your collarbones, this is the region this breathing is connected to. This is the third breath in the three-part breathing, all right? So first is your abdominal, then it is your chest, and now we have reached the clavicular region, right? So now generally clavicular breathing will not take place, all right, for you in your lives. Most of the times clavicular breathing does not take place. clavicular breathing is associated with a very stressful kind of situation, right? So if you physically exert yourself too much, right, one is physical exertion, right, and because of that you switch to chest breathing. But then when you go into intense of that also, then your body starts breathing in this manner, where only the upper portion of the chest, there is the movement is only over here in the upper portion of the chest. So clavicular breathing, eventually with practice we are only opening our chest's capacity, right, but eventually clavicular breathing is completely removed. Alright, right now because we are doing the training of the breath also, we are doing the training of the posture also, so we require clavicular breathing, but eventually you have to suspend it, right. So people generally who have respiratory disorders, they generally go for clavicular breathing. Hence it is very good for you to introduce chest breathing and abdominal breathing to such patients, like patients of asthma, patients of bronchitis. So these people, you know, they are generally always falling short of breath, and that is because they are only using the upper lobes of the lungs. So in previous classes I have told you that lungs are divided overall in 3 lobes, at least the right side. So the upper lobes of the lungs, they get oxygenated when we do clavicular breathing. Okay, out of all the 3 breathings, this is the most stressful one, right. So abdominal breathing will require the least effort, then thoracic breathing will require some more effort, and clavicular breathing will require the most effort. So when you take the breath in and you feel you have completed the breath, right, after that you make some more effort to take a little bit air in, right, more air in, and that is when you feel a rise in your collarbones, right, and eventually when you begin to open up your capacity, you might even feel the rise in the shoulders a little bit strain in your neck, right, and it is only happening because you are making the extra effort to breathe in a little bit more, right. And when you exhale, the collarbones, the neck, shoulders, the collarbones, they go into a downward movement, right. So when you inhale, again they expand, when you exhale, they again go into relaxation, right. So clavicular breathing, it can be like when you do clavicular breathing, generally what happens is you are not immediately able to begin with clavicular breathing, right. So it happens as a conjunction to the thoracic breathing only, right. So if I just ask you to do thoracic breathing, you will be able to keep a check on the outward and inward movement of the chest, but clavicular breathing is not that easy to trace, and in itself it's very rare for you to start this kind of breathing, right. So what we do, we first expand the chest, so we combine it with thoracic breathing. Generally we feel the chest expand, and once we feel the chest has expanded to the maximum level, we breathe in a little bit more, right, and when we do that, we feel the rise in the collarbones. And then when you go in the opposite direction, first the collarbone should relax and then your chest should relax. Okay. So ideally this breathing is done by crossing the hands and placing them on the collarbones, right. So what I can do, I can cross my hands like this, keep them on my collarbones, right, and then I'll just give you a short demonstration. Okay. So I cross my hands, keep them on the collarbone, sit straight. You can also do this in a laying position. Okay. As you inhale, you begin to expand the chest. Okay. Right. So right now when I took a breath in, it's a very subtle movement that will take place initially. Okay. So don't worry if you are not able to feel it today. Okay, or in the upcoming classes also. Clavicular breathing takes a while, okay, for you to even understand what the movement is, what kind of movement is taking place. So when you inhale, you feel the collarbones expand, right. So there is a rise, and once you exhale, you feel the collarbones relax. This is a very subtle movement that takes place, so you need good level of concentration when you are doing this practice. Eventually, again, like I said, this practice is suspended, and even I would say that when you make your students practice this, don't make them practice too many rounds, okay, because this is quite straining, right? So we are just doing this in order to train the breath, to correct our breathing pattern, right? And after clavicular breathing, always ask your students to practice a little bit of abdominal breathing again, because that indeed is the best way to breathe, right? So switching back is very, very important after you do clavicular breathing, right, which most people forget to do, right? So always switch back to abdominal breathing after you introduce clavicular breathing as well. So any questions, doubts or queries around this, around the practice or whatever we have discussed today? Any issues? All right, okay. If you still feel, you can definitely write your doubts down. I will be happy to address them, right? Okay, side effects of pranayama. Yes. So sometimes when you start practicing pranayama, what will happen? Maybe you feel some shivering in the body, maybe you feel sweating in the body. You might also, your body might also immediately change the temperature, right? So you might experience the change in temperature in the body, which is very immediate, all right, not slowly, but immediate switch in temperature, right? So these become your side effects, right? Initially they show up, right, and then they go away, but sometimes it will happen, they will prolong. In that case you have to consult your teacher, in this case you have to consult me, right? And if but they are not going to persist, it's just that the detoxification is taking place, so it is showing up in the form, in these forms: itching, sweating, shivering, right? So these things can happen and it's totally normal or absolutely fine, right? Okay. What are the two types of breathing? Two types of breathing. Which two types are you talking about? There are three types of breathing. So we have covered abdominal, then in previous class we covered the thoracic, and this time we are covering clavicular, which is done along with your chest breathing. So when you begin to breathe, first your chest will expand and then you will feel the collarbones rise, and then when you exhale, first the collarbones will relax and then your chest will also relax eventually. These are the like for clavicular breathing, we generally take the support of thoracic breathing first.
Hey, can you repeat the last breathing? What's the name again, please?
Which meaning?
The last breathing, is it clavicular?
Clavicular. CLAVICULAR. Clavicular, collarbones. These are the collarbones. Clavicular, yes.
Okay, thank you. That was what I was looking for.
Sorry, which one?
This was the one that I didn't understand. This one.
Okay, clavicular.
Clavicular, yeah.
Clavicular, yeah. Awesome, great. So we will begin our practice for today. You can lie down on your mats if you feel the need, or you can sit comfortably. Back and neck should be straight, right? And once you settle yourself in the position, right, Shavasana is keeping your legs apart, hand should be away from the body, palm should face upwards, and spine should be straight. Once you get into your position. Very gently close the eyes. And now begin to shift your attention to your breathing. Now slowly take a moment to check your body. You should be relaxed, you should be comfortable. There should be stability in your body. Now once you feel ready, gently come back to your breathing and just take a few deep breaths. Feel your breath as it flows in and as it flows out. And now prepare yourself for abdominal breathing. So you can choose to place one hand on your abdomen, or you can just be aware of it while your hands are on your knees. Exhale fully, contract your abdomen. As you begin to inhale, feel the abdomen rise and expand. As you exhale, contract your abdomen. Again and again, going in the same process. As you inhale, your abdomen should rise. Exhale, contract the abdomen. Try to deepen your breath. After your next exhalation, suspend your practice. Keeping the back and neck straight, simply observe how you feel after abdominal breathing. See how much effort you put in when you were doing this practice. Keeping the back and neck straight. If you're lying down, it's good. If you're sitting up, just make sure your spine remains straight. We're going to begin with the clavicular breathing only. We are going to combine thoracic or chest breathing and the clavicular breathing together. So begin to first exhale fully. And now you can cross your hands. Place them on the collarbones, so you'll have a good idea of your chest as well. As you inhale, feel the chest rise and expand. And just to fill in a little bit more air, take the breath in and feel that rise in your collarbones. As you exhale, first your collarbone should relax and then relax your chest completely. Continue the same cycle, first expanding your chest and then feeling that rise reach the collarbones. As you exhale, go in the reverse order. Your main focus and attention should be on your collarbones. You require good amount of awareness to feel the expansion and contraction and the upper lobes of the lungs. Take a few more breaths in the same manner. After your next exhalation, suspend your practice. If you are lying down, you can relax your hands on the floor. If you are sitting up, relax your hands on your knees. See what changes have come in, how much effort it took you to take the breath when you used your chest and you used the upper lobes of the lungs. Keeping your back and neck straight, we are going to go for a few rounds of abdominal breathing again. Exhale fully and then feel your abdomen rise as you begin to inhale. As you exhale, contract your abdomen. Just relax your breath as much as possible. Take some time to switch back to abdominal breathing. After your next exhalation, suspend your practice. Come to the natural flow of your breathing. Keep your back and neck straight if you are lying down. Very slowly and gently begin to move your body. Move your fingers, move your toes, take your time. Join your legs together and turn towards your left side. Make a cushion with your left hand. Place the right hand on the ground. And slowly begin to pick yourself up with the right hand. Come in any comfortable sitting posture. If you were already sitting, straighten up your back. Prepare yourself for closing the session. We will chant Om one time, followed by the Shanti mantra. Take a deep inhalation for Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu niramaya. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschit dukhabhag bhavet. Ma kaschit dukhabhag bhavet. Take a deep breath in for Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Feel the vibrations. Join the palms together, gently bow down. Just a sense of gratitude and respect. Begin to rub your palms together. Place your palms on your eyes. Very slowly, while blinking and looking at your palms, begin to open up your eyes, coming back with a big smile on your face. Om Shanti. Namaste to everyone.